Welcome to installment number 3 of reflections on the Chopra Center 21-day journey of creating abundance. Thank you so much for all the unbelievably generous and kind and loving words of encouragement and support I've heard from friends, current friends, friends from the past, former work colleagues. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful, and I've been really enjoying reconnecting with people. Actually, I think it's a beautiful display of abundance and the abundance that's being created in my life as a result of what I'm doing here and living these concepts and these feelings, these concepts, and just tapping into the source. And before I get really into the reflections of the day 2, really, today is installment number 3, but we are talking through day 2 of the abundance meditations. I want to put out there that I am acutely aware of the climate that we are living in and the things that we are dealing with today. And I know that there are some people who are saying to themselves, isn't taking this time or thinking about or having this narrative around abundance kind of superficial, or there was a word that I had, superficial or frivolous at a time like this when we're dealing with these crazy health concerns and things like that. And I really want to invite you, if that's something that's striking you, to really give some thought to the idea and contemplate the idea that, in fact, exactly the opposite is the case. Because this abundance, it doesn't have to mean getting a new thing, spending time with your family, better health. And for example, my kids are going to be home now for 2 weeks from school, and for me, and I was going to say, different things for different people, and even different things for the same person at different moments in your life. So for example, right now, my kids are about to have 2 weeks home from school, and for me, in these next 2 weeks, a big part of abundance will be connecting with my family and having them learn something from this, and not falling into some crazy situation where we're all disconnected and attached to our devices. I'm really going to limit that amount of time. And anyway, the fact that the abundance can be just creating those moments and those lifelong memories that we will have, God willing, as things pass in this crazy time. And it actually also really connects me back to when I did have cancer and how I was living, and the proof for me that living in this place of connection, despite your circumstances, there are plenty of people in those moments who would have been perfectly okay and accepting of me being scared and upset and living from fear. And instead, I tapped into something greater than me during that time. And that's what I encourage everybody to do now, when you are going through these times that could be so fearful. So with that, I do want to jump into the lessons and reflections on day 2 of the day 2, installment 3 of the Chopra Center Creating Abundance Journey. So first, the theme of day 2 is, what is the source of abundance? And talking about the fact that the source of abundance is truly available to all of us. They actually call it the unified field. And Deepak Chopra says it's what we are all made of. And it's incredible. When the centering thought from yesterday is, I create my personal abundance from an infinite source. So the idea is, as you go into your meditation and as you go throughout your day, you reconnect with that thought and that feeling and idea of, I create my personal abundance from an infinite source. And you see what that brings for you, just noticing and believing in yourself and trusting. And it's about an attraction method of creating abundance. But starts again with this idea that we are all made of and created from an infinitely abundant source. And another thing that it goes into, and that connects me back to a former time in my life, started out spirituality for kids, and then they changed it while I was volunteering there to success for kids. And one of the principles that we talked about in SFK was the 1%, and that the 1% is the source of abundance where we are all connected in that field. And for me, and that the 99% is everything we can taste, touch, smell, everything we can sense with our 5 senses. And I'm not so sure that it's 199, but I can tell you I'm really sure that it's some, pretty big discrepancy in percentage where the source, what we can't see, taste, touch, smell, what seems more intangible, is really the greater piece. And if we leverage that and work with that, holy moly, what is possible for us? All that's tangible comes from this same source, and we can create it. The source is the entire universe, the unified field, as they talk about. And Deepak Chopra goes on to talk about how the key to living in that abundance is embracing that the abundance comes from the unified field. And to me, that's, as all of this is, and I've said it before, that's incredibly exciting, that we can each just tap into that incredible source of abundance and attract. And he also talks about how this is a creative process. He says you have the power and ability to access it, the power of infinite creativity. The power of infinite creativity is yours for the asking, waiting for your call. Waiting for your call. How exciting is that? I mean, in any moment and any day. And he also talks about how it doesn't matter what your past was. Now is the time where you can tap into that infinite field. And I so believe it, and I've so experienced it in so many points in my life. Namely, when I did have cancer and I tapped into this, and it's just over a year later, and I am sitting here in front of you better than I think I had been in a really, really long time. I mean, when I learned of the fact that I had cancer, I decided in that moment this was going to be a gift. This was going to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. And from it, I was going to create everything I wanted in my life. Didn't know how. Don't get me wrong. I knew it was going to be a hell of a hard road. And I didn't know how long that hard road would be or how it would end. But I knew that it was going to be okay. And I just tapped into that creative energy and said, from this, everything I want will come somehow. And truth be told, it has, and it is. And it's a process. So it's super exciting. Deepak Chopra goes on to talk about it's yours for the asking, and you simply relinquish any resistance to abundance. And I really believe in that. And actually, not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago at therapy, my therapist and I were talking about how I was in this incredible state of non-resistance, even with tremendous change that's happening in my life. And it can feel scary and fearful. And yet, I'm in this state of non-resistance. And I think that that's a huge piece. Open your mind and heart to the possibility that you can attract anything, and abundance will flow easily and effortlessly into your life. Another for me. Amazing. And yes, please, I will take that. Come to me. So then they talk about the steps, basically, that abundance begins with a thought. It begins with a thought. Any one of us can have any thought, and think about what has been created by the great minds just from thought. So let yourself dream. Let yourself have those thoughts and enjoy them. So starts with a thought, followed by an intention, and a clear understanding of what you want. Thought that becomes your intention, then morphs into an expectation, a real belief that you can do it and you can have it and you don't have to worry about all the details. Now, I'm not saying you sit at home and you eat bonbons and you don't take any action. You take inspired action when it comes to you and you be with it. But you start with a dream, a thought, an intention. It morphs into an expectation, a knowing, a belief. And then when the inspired action hits you, you follow it. You don't let the fear stop you. And before you know it, you're experiencing what we talked about yesterday of divine coincidence and amazing things and all of your needs being fulfilled and your desires being met spontaneously. So another way to step into this is today, ask yourself, what would I like more of? Today, what would I like more of? And tomorrow that thought can change what it is that you want. But today, just ask yourself. And if it's, I'm home with my kids and it's going to be really fun and connected and loving, that's great. Or if it's, I'm home with my partner and I'm going to create that loving connection with my partner. Or I'm working today and I'm going to give it my all and be the best I can be. Or if it's just dreaming about stuff you want, whatever it is. So ask yourself, focus on the centering thought. I create my abundance from an infinite source. Allow yourself to attract it, step into it, and be in a state of non-resistance and enjoy, and that's your power. Thank you. More to come. Bye-bye.